At 61, the heartbreaking truth about Nicolas Cage's downfall is finally coming to light, and it is leaving fans stunned. For decades, Cage was one of Hollywood's most electrifying stars, an Oscar winner, a box office powerhouse, and the face of unforgettable roles that defined 90s and early 2000s cinema. But behind the iconic characters, behind the explosive performances, and the eccentric persona, Nicolas Cage was fighting a financial storm that spiraled far beyond what the public ever imagined. Today, the revelation that Cage is essentially bankrupt feels almost unreal. How could a man who once earned over $150 million lose everything? How did Hollywood royalty find himself trapped in debt, selling off prized possessions just to stay afloat? Cage's fall from financial grace is not just a story of overspending. It is a story of personal struggle, misguided trust, and the painful cost of fame. For years, Cage lived the lifestyle that Hollywood seemed to demand: lavish mansions spread across the country, rare cars, exotic animals, artwork worth millions, and even a private island. But now, Cage admits that many of these purchases were attempts to escape emotional turmoil and overwhelming pressure. He says his life became a cycle of chasing the next project, the next paycheck, the next distraction. What fans didn't know was that behind the big-ticket purchases was a storm brewing with the IRS, mismanaged finances, and mounting interest that swallowed him whole. One of the most devastating blows came when Cage discovered that his former financial manager had misled him for years, leaving him with enormous tax debts. Cage sued, but by then the damage was done. The government was owed millions, and Cage was forced to liquidate much of his once glamorous empire. But the saddest part of Cage's story isn't the money he lost, it's the emotional toll he carried while still trying to keep his family and career afloat. Cage admits that there were nights he barely slept, terrified of losing everything he had worked for since he was a teenager. He felt ashamed, humiliated, and betrayed. And yet, he didn't let Hollywood see the struggle. He continued acting nonstop, sometimes taking roles he didn't want just to pay off debts and stay afloat. What fans interpreted as strange movie choices were, in reality, Cage's desperate attempts to rebuild his life. He shot film after film, some back-to-back, traveling from one set to another without rest. He pushed himself to the edge because the alternative, financial collapse, was too painful to face. At 61, Cage has paid off much of what he owed, but the scars of the experience remain. He admits that the years of financial turmoil humbled him, drained him, and forced him to reevaluate everything he once valued. Gone are the mansions, the rare collectibles, the extravagant purchases. Today, Cage lives a far more grounded, almost minimalist lifestyle. What remains is a man who is wiser, weathered, and painfully honest about the mistakes he made. He says he learned the hard way that fame is fleeting, money is temporary, and trusting the wrong people can destroy a lifetime of work. Fans say it is heartbreaking to see a legend brought so low, especially when he gave the world so much. But even in ruin, Cage remains resilient. He has rebuilt his reputation with powerful performances, earning critical praise once again. Yet behind a comeback is a man who survived one of Hollywood's quietest tragedies, financial devastation hidden behind a superstar smile. At 61, Nicolas Cage's story is a haunting reminder that even the brightest stars can fall, and sometimes the people we admire the most are the ones silently carrying the heaviest burdens.